What's up, everyone, and welcome to Up and Out. I'm your host, LaPorsche. Listen, yesterday you heard part one of an amazing convo with Jessamyn Stanley. Remember, she's our health and wellness hashtag all-around baddie homegirl with nearly 600,000 followers, and it was good. Truty, let me tell you something. Her energy is so calming yet spicy, you know, just how I like it. And I love how open she is and how open she was in the interview. Well, yesterday I asked her, how does she deal on those days when she doesn't like her body? Because we all have those days, trust and believe. This is what she had to say.
Yo, okay, so this is such a big part of body acceptance to me, is that it's not always about liking your body. Like sometimes I very often do not like my body. I'm mad at my body. I'll be like, I literally am actively angry at different parts of it. And what I do when I feel that way is just let myself feel that way. I don't try to cover it up. I don't try to like talk myself out of it or anything. I'm just like, this is how I feel. This is who I am. I hate this part of myself. So that when we get past the place of saying I have to like everything all the time, you're able to see the full breadth of the human experience, which some parts of it are ugly and it's not fun. And it's not like I said, oh, I don't like this thing, and then one day magically I liked it. Nah, I still don't like it. And that being able to accept myself and give myself that level of respect to say that you are allowed to feel exactly how you feel, and you don't have to make excuses for it or try to turn it into something else. That is a deep place of power, and being able to rest in that power is how eventually you get to a place of saying, damn, I am that bitch. I am that strong. I can do anything, literally. But you have to accept every part of yourself, especially the days when it does not feel good.
When you're skinny, there's this pressure to stay skinny. You have to stay acceptable, so to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in your case, your brand is built off plus size body positivity, which you just described as having a wide breadth and a wide meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel the pressure to stay plus size? And when do you ever get nervous? Like, what happens if you wake up one day and I'm like, I want to go get a BBL? I'm like, are you ever nervous about your audience? Like saying, girl, because you know that's what happened with Lizzo. So I'm very curious about that.
You know, I don't think about it because I have always been fat. So like I've never not had a time in my life where I can't imagine what that would be like. And I do think that if I like drastically lost weight, or like if my body changed dramatically, that would still be my path. And ultimately, I am still the same fat kid that I was when I was a kid, and I will always be that fat kid. I did a TikTok one time that was about like the different kinds of fat, and there's this one type of fat that I think of very often. It's like former fats is what I call them, but it's like people who are thin now, but like they were fat before. But like if you were fat once, you are never not fat. So like even it doesn't matter how thin you are, like you still fat. And we all know about it, and you know about it. And it's because it's not really about how you look physically. It's about how you present yourself to the world and what happens in your mind and how you perceive the world. And I think that for me, my life has been permanently shaped by being fat, so that it really doesn't matter what I look like from here on out. Like I will always be this person. But even if I wasn't, I don't really think that the message that I'm sharing with the world is like, being fat is great. It's more like you can just be yourself, whoever you are. You don't have to make excuses for yourself. You don't have to try to fit into a box. You can just be who you are. That we don't exist to look like carbon copies of one another. And I think that I can carry that message regardless of what my body physically looks like.
You deep. Okay. Okay. Listen, I've been skinny my whole life, and don't worry, I'm not about to give you no skinny girl sob story.
Ooh, give me your sob story. I want it.
No. I don't have a sob story, but it's interesting because I will always hear people talking about like weight, or I got to lose weight, or I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to go do that, and I always felt like that was a part of the woman experience, right? It's interesting because now I am like I had lost my big sister, recently, and I got so depressed that I just started gaining weight. It was like the first time my body went into like and I was like, oh damn, that's what women been talking about. I didn't try fasting. I've been working out. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, no, that's what I was asking for my whole life. Now look at my ass.
I have to tell you, this is bringing up so many different things for me. And the two big things that are coming up is that when we talk about body positivity and body acceptance, very often it gets mired in that's something for fat people. Basically, the idea is like fat people, really honestly, more specifically, cisgender, heteronormative, fat femmes deserve to have the same rights as everyone else or something. It just becomes about fat femininity. And ultimately, body acceptance is for everybody. There is nobody. That's why I was like, tell me your sob story, because like everybody has some kind of trauma with their body, because we are all projecting ideas onto one another about what we should look like. And then comes this hierarchy of experience where it's like some people have it harder than others, or like there's some people who really have to do this work and others who don't. And it really is just everybody. But the other thing that this brought up for me is that we, when we talk about body size, it becomes this very one-dimensional conversation where we're like, thin people are thin and fat people are fat, and everybody needs to be thin. So let's just try to get to a place where everybody can be thin. But we don't have this deeper conversation about, well, why are you thin or why are you fat? Like, where did this come from? And there's obviously like a genetic piece of this that ultimately is out of everybody's hands. But there's a piece of it that is very emotional, very spiritual. And, when you said that about your big sister passing, I'm like, that is a very real thing that happens in our lives. Like, we deal with grief and our bodies react to it. And when I think back on my own life, my mother was diagnosed with congestive heart failure when I was a child. And during that time period, she was bedridden for a couple years when I was a kid. And during that time, my brother and we were just figuring it out. Like, my dad was at work 100% of the time, and we're just like trying to figure out how to eat. And I'm like, we weren't thinking about like counting calories or trying to like look a particular way. So I think back to that time and I'm like, oh, this was this is a big formative period for me with food and exercise and how I approach my body. And it's not that there's a spectrum of good or bad. It's like, let me just look at my life holistically and see who I am as a human being so that I can accept myself. But because our society is so ruled by fitness culture and like, change your body, look this way, we don't even get to have that conversation. So I just appreciate the nuance that you're offering through sharing of yourself, because that's how we can actually start to have the conversation of acceptance with ourselves.
Yeah, and thank you. I don't want to get attacked though, because like, oh, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I always thought it was a part of the woman experience, and I'm just now hitting that part of my
exactly. That's right.
Like, oh, I get it, y'all. Okay, I get it. Hold up, what we trying to count? And I'm like, I don't know how to count no damn calories. I ain't count no calories.
Literally, no.
I'm taking my chances, and you're gonna have to love this little roll and this back fat coming in, baby, because this is just gonna be what it is.
You said I'm gonna have to take my chances. Absolutely. I feel that. I can't do all this. I feel you deeply.
Okay, like, it's too much.
So, Jessamyn, girl, come back anytime, especially when you have more deals coming, because listen, homegirl is doing very well in life, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in today to Up and Out. See you later, girls. The nails popping, ain't they?